All right, let's talk about bone smashing. It is one of the most talked about, yet most dangerous practices in all of Looksmaxxing. It is a so-called hack for the pursuit of better facial aesthetics. And the idea is repeatedly hitting your bones with a hard object to stimulate bone growth, supposedly supported by something called Wolff's Law. But here's the reality. Bone smashing does not work the way you think. And Wolff's Law has been completely misunderstood and misapplied in this context by the TikTok community. Surprise. In this video, I'm going to break down why it's not only outright ineffective, but also harmful. I'm going to expose all of the risks and the long-term consequences that you could face from doing it. Okay, so what does it claim to do? Bone smashing hinges on the idea that if you repeatedly hit your face with something hard, it creates microfractures on the bones, leading the bone to grow back thicker and stronger, and therefore more attractive in some cases, especially if it's on your zygomatics. This belief is tied to something called Wolff's Law. But Wolff's Law explains that bones adapt to loads of pressure placed on them over time. It's why weightlifters develop denser bones over time after lifting heavy weights, or why astronauts lose bone density when they have no external pressures like gravity on them. But here's the key misunderstanding. Wolff's Law applies to slow and controlled, consistent changes of pressure on the bones. Controlled, consistent, and functional loads, not random trauma or blunt force. So here's exactly why Wolff's Law doesn't support bone smashing. Let's talk about controlled stress versus trauma. Wolff's Law describes the body's adaptation to controlled functional stress over time. Walking, lifting weights, or even things like orthodontic adjustments. Bone smashing creates uncontrolled, chaotic trauma. Instead of stimulating healthy adaptation, it risks fractures, inflammation, and improper healing. Also, microfractures do not heal uniformly. The human body can't control exactly how bones are going to react from trauma. So often the result of bone smashing is a disorganized buildup in bone tissue that comes in various ways. This buildup of bone tissue is something called a callus, and it is what leads to uneven or misshapen features, not the sharp, defined chisel look that you're trying to get. Also, bone smashing specifically focuses on facial bones, not weight-bearing bones like your femur. Facial bones aren't designed to withstand repeated impact, and the results won't align with the principle of Wolff's Law of adaptation. Not only that, your skin and soft tissue are not going to benefit from smashing your face in, because the skin, cartilage, and soft tissues of your face will sustain permanent damage, including sagging and scarring, and even discoloration. No amount of bone adaptation is going to outweigh that con. And also, bone smashing comes with a load of risks. Permanent bone deformities, permanent nerve damage, accelerated aging, a risk of infection, a huge psychological toll which is documented time and time again. I mean, if you have ever met someone who bone smashes, you can quite clearly see what rabbit hole they've been led down. You can tell that their road for improving themselves has turned into a project of self-hatred. So I know what a lot of you thinking. If bone smashing isn't the answer, then what is? Here are the safe methods that you should be focusing on to improve your facial aesthetics. Orthotropics, proper tongue posture, neck exercises, and mewing can help guide your facial bones as you develop. Weight loss and fitness, skincare and collagen support, everything to do with joint suture theory and bone manipulation in that sense, chewing exercises and jaw development, and myofunctional therapy. So no, bone smashing doesn't work, and it's not because of Wolff's Law, but because it fundamentally misunderstands how the body adapts to stress. The risks far outweigh the supposed benefits, and the long-term consequences can be completely irreversible. So cut it out, stay safe. Remember that this is a journey of self-improvement which should be rooted in self-love. In other words, you don't need to harm yourself in any way to improve. Much love, gang. Let me know if you have any questions.